How do you decide which companies to audition for? What should be in my CV? Is it important to wear pointe shoes in the center? How to stay confident? Hello my beautiful people. I'm in my new setup in Sweden. This is my new room. If you haven't seen it, make sure to go and check my recent moving to Stockholm video. I kind of do a little bit of a room tour there. Also, I have a video on TikTok and Instagram Reels that I did, so if you want to see more in depth what my room looks like. However, that is not the point of today's video. Today's video is going to be all about audition season, and just overall some audition tips from my experience of doing auditions for ballet companies. I feel like this is a video that's going to be very helpful to a lot of you. I really hope so. I asked you guys to put some questions in on my Instagram and I got so many replies. Thank you so much for your replies and for your answers and for sending those in. I have written them all down and I've put them into different sections that we're going to go through that I think could be very helpful. Hey guys, as I was explaining this, my camera decided to stop recording, but I put all your questions into 7 different categories: general, preparation, style, filming, during audition, confidence, and my experience and Sweden. Hopefully these tips can help you during your audition season. I am so sorry, it is another day. On the day that I was filming this, my camera was having a fit and it did not record some of the footage that I filmed, so I'm quickly coming to you a week later to finish off what I wanted to say. Firstly, I just want to give a disclaimer that I am by no means the master of auditions. I cannot tell you everything and say that everything in this video is 100% right. Don't take everything I say too literally. Take it with a pinch of salt. Take anything that you think will resonate with you or will be helpful to you. I've just done many auditions and I've had 2 years of audition experience, so I'm just giving you guys tips and some helpful advice that I wish I knew when I was going through the audition period. Also, the information in this video is based on my experience with European ballet company auditions, but I think a lot of it will apply to American auditions as well, just to give you a heads up about that. I have to answer a couple of questions as well that got cut out. Are all auditions at the same time of the year? I would say they're very spread out throughout the year. They're usually between the months of November to May, except for I know the Paris Opera audition is quite late in the year, around June, July, but they're generally in that time period. They can be very spread out. It really depends on the company. I would say most of them start in the new year, but you do have to be prepared for a few of them that want really early auditions or want you to send in your information very early on. Any advice to have a successful audition season? My biggest piece of advice is to start filming early and preparing yourself as soon as possible so that you're not scrambling at the end, and so you have all of your materials and videos together and it's ready to send off to companies if there's any early audition applications that are opening, and probably having also an early closing date. Then at least you're ready for that and you're not stressing trying to just get everything done and not having a good quality. Secondly, I would say do your research on the companies that you want to go to, or as many as possible. Just really know the dates of the auditions and when they're opening the audition applications, when they're closing them, so that you're not stressing and so that you're really well aware ahead of time and you know how much time you have to film, to prepare, and when you need to be sending your materials in. Is Grand Audition and YGP Job Fair worth it? I really don't want to say yes or no to this because I guess every different person has a different opinion on it. I didn't do Grand Audition, but I did do YGP Job Fair. I will just start by saying YGP Job Fair is held in Stuttgart, or one of them is, and one of them is in Nashville, I think. And I was already in Stuttgart, so I didn't have to travel. That was really handy for me and I was super grateful for that. But I know a lot of people had to spend a lot of money and time to travel to get to Stuttgart. As for being worth it, I will give you some info and you can kind of decide for yourself in terms of opportunities and meeting people, which is super important for auditions and for the ballet world. There are a lot of directors present in person and online, and I do think it's a really good opportunity to get yourself in front of them, even just to be seen by them. At least they've kind of seen you or they know your face, and it's so rare that you have so many directors from such amazing companies coming all together on 1 or 2 days and being in the same room right in front of you watching you. That is a very rare case, and I think it's amazing that YGP has been able to do that with this job fair. So in terms of that, I totally think it is worth it, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can get something out of it, and sometimes there are still very limited jobs. It's really up to you to decide, but that's kind of how it works, and I do think it is really good for that. But in the end, it's still YGP, it's still very competitive, and honestly even more competitive than some of the other auditions I've done, since there are so many directors there. You really have to be on your A game, and it's very high stress and high intensity. Maybe it is worth it, maybe I will say it's worth it, but no, I still don't want to say that, because even if the directors see you and they talk to you, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a yes. From my experience, it might mean come and take class, and even then, if you go and take class, it still might not be a yes. So it's kind of 50-50. It depends how much you get out of it. How old do you have to be to audition for a company? I would say at least 17, but ideally 18, because 17 is a little bit young, but sometimes companies will take you at that age depending on the country. Some companies cannot take you under 18, as you can't start working until you're 18 and a legal adult, but in my opinion 18 is just better. Unless you're auditioning for a junior company or it's a special case, 18 is just a good age. I think you're more ready mentally, physically, you're more at the age you should be to be your final student self, to be going into companies. So 18 or over is probably the best age to be at for auditions. Okay, let's go back to the video I filmed last week. How long does the audition process take? I would say from the months of, as I said, September, October to whenever you get a job really, but maybe May is kind of when most people are starting to find out if they have a job. Maybe June. As for the process, it depends when you start filming, but it's around 8 months of preparing, filming, going to auditions, and receiving the answer from companies. That's why in most pre-professional schools, they have the last year, the graduation year, which is also kind of the auditioning year, and that's when you have the time to go and audition and do all of that stuff. When do you get the result from auditions? This can really vary. It can be within a day, a week, or even like 3 months later. It really depends on each different company. From my experience with Sweden, I received an email a week later, which was really great. I think a week was a perfect amount of time. With another audition I did, they said we're gonna have to wait 2 months since we need to see other people, and then we can confirm if you've got the spot or not, which is such a horrible position to be in. I kind of understand it on their side. It can really vary, and it can be pretty horrible waiting, but generally it can be a week to a month. Can you describe the whole process from beginning to end? I'm kind of going through that in this whole video, but just from a simpler perspective, it's preparing and having your list and all of your ideas ready, making sure you're prepared physically and mentally to go into it and to start filming, which is the second part. So then you take a month or so to film, make sure that you're happy with your materials and send it off. Then you kind of wait for the answers to come back from the companies. If you've gotten into these auditions, then you go off to the auditions and you do them, you wait for the feedback and your answer to see if you've gotten in or not, and then you kind of keep auditioning, or you take offers that you get and you kind of just keep going until you receive an offer that you're happy with or that you want to go to. How do you decide which companies to audition for? You don't. That's the thing. You really, from my experience and from what I've seen with other people, I think you go into it thinking, okay, I'm going to audition for this company, this company, this company, this company, and then once I get my result, I will go to this company. No, that's not quite how it works. These days, the jobs are so limited and there's so many dancers out there that want the jobs that you want. All I can say is you should send everywhere. Honestly, send everywhere. Even if you don't like it, even if it's at the bottom of your list, send there anyways, because it is better to have a plan B, D, F than not getting a job. So I would say just send everywhere. That's how a lot of people that I've seen have started and grown in their careers and even become principals, and they're such amazing dancers, is they started at really small companies that no one knew about. It's a start, it's something. So really try not to be picky. What should be in my CV? Of course, you need your name, your age, your height, weight, gender, address, email, nationality, and languages. Then have some sort of photo, just a headshot, a dance photo, or some people even at the end have a little profile or gallery area where they have a bunch of photos. Everyone does it very differently. I just did my headshot and a dance photo next to each other, but I know a lot of people who wanted to put a lot of photos, and that's good too if you want to do that. It's very personal. Then I would say put your training history and where you're currently at. Then you're welcome to put any achievements or things that you're kind of proud of. Maybe you won a competition or prizes, ballet competitions, put them in there if you want. Tips for audition photo shoots. I would say it's very much the same as when you're filming. Just make sure you're really in your best shape and feeling like your best self physically and mentally, because you want to be going into this with a good mentality and you want to be going in knowing that I am feeling my best. This is me. This is what I'm showing to the directors, and what they see is what they're going to get. Wear something that you're happy with. Make sure you see some of the photos before you finish the photo shoot, because if you go away and you haven't seen any of the photos and they come back and you hate all of them and you could have changed them or changed something at the time, maybe it's a finger or a leg that you could have put higher or lower or stretched more or pointed your foot more, then those things you could have done at the time, and it's just like, oh, I wish I did that. And generally they cost a lot of money, so get your money's worth, make sure you're happy. However, in saying that, don't overanalyze all of your photos, because not everything's going to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. Know what you're capable of, and sometimes if you're trying a pose, it's not working, just move on with it. But make sure you also have some staple poses and positions like an arabesque, a écarté, second leg, those kind of things that really show your lines and you as a dancer. What should you include in your audition application? Audition applications, again, they're very specific to each company, so it should tell you what to put in the application, and sometimes there's even a website which will say exactly in different sections, put this here, put your CV here, put your photos here, we want to hear from you, we want a video from you, we want this exercise here, anything like that. So I would say, again, just like go through all of the companies, see what their website says, see what they're asking for, and it should tell you everything. Everyone is a little bit different. Most of them are the same. They want a CV, they want a headshot, they want some photos, they want your video materials and a variation and a contemporary variation as well. Audition photos, hair up or hair down, tutu or no tutu, tights or no tights. Okay, audition photos, hair up or down is very personal. Again, whatever you feel is best for you. I remember when I was in school, I wanted to put my hair up and be very student-like and keep it very clean and sleek. I just felt like hair up was a bit more student-like, and of course you want to come across as ready for a company, but you also want to be like the finished product of a student. I don't know if that makes sense, but for me, I wanted my hair up. It doesn't really matter that much, but that's just kind of was my mentality with that. But I know a lot of people wear their hair down, so it's totally up to you. Tutu or no tutu, I would say definitely get your photos in just a leotard and tights without a tutu, and then you can maybe do a few different poses and shots in a tutu, but you definitely don't want to cover up anything of your body. Even if you feel insecure and you're like, oh, if I put a tutu on, it will make me feel better, they don't want to see that. They want to see you, they want to see your lines, your proportions and everything. So make sure you have some, as I said, the staple poses and positions without a tutu, and then with the tutu can be a little bit more artistic. Tights or no tights, same thing. I would say definitely get your very classical shots with the tights on, probably tights and then leotard over the top. I don't know, some people would disagree. I just think that's very classical, student-like. It's always the way to go. That's kind of how my teacher from Australia raised me, I guess you could say, is to keep it very classical and simple and plain, but definitely have your shots with no tights, which can maybe be a little more neoclassical or contemporary or artistic, showing a bit more expression and movement. And also you can see more muscles then, and the muscle definition can be really beautiful, so have some of those as well. I think it's good to have a balance between the two. Just make sure you have your staple poses and your classical poses with tights. Hairstyle and outfit recommendation. Tights, skirts. Okay, this is during the audition, what you should wear. Also for photos, okay, just in general, hairstyle and outfit recommendation. You know what, I think with companies, of course you're a ballet dancer and you need to have ballet hair. You can't go into an audition with your hair out like this or around your face. You need to be professional as much as possible, but you're also showing you as a person, and everyone is different. It's totally up to you. If you want a French twist, go for a French twist. If you want to keep it simple and sleek and do a middle part low bun, go for it. If you want a high bun, if you want twists, I swear I changed it every audition. They're not judging you based on your hairstyle. Outfit recommendations, same thing. If you have your favorite leotard and skirt combination, go for it. Anything that's going to make you feel the best. They're not judging you based off your leotard. And if you wear a leotard and you don't get the job and you say, oh, it was the leotard I wore, it's really not. And not to burst your bubble, if you want to blame it on the leotard, go for it, but it's really going to be you as a dancer that they're looking at, and you as a person and your technique. I would say keep it pretty simple. Leotard, tights, over or under is really your choice. This is going into the next question. Can you wear a skirt in a company audition? You totally can. It's your choice. I kind of switched. Sometimes I wore tights, leotard and then a skirt. Sometimes I wore leotard and then tights over and no skirt. You kind of figure out through different auditions what you're feeling, and your mood changes changes based off the audition. Keep it professional, classy. Also, can you wear a skirt in company audition videos for the bar and the center? This one, it's personal, but straight from student to company, I would say not, just because at least from my school, we didn't really wear skirts in class that much, only for exams. I think they want to see your lines and your technique and your proportions as much as possible. I think sometimes a skirt can cover that up if it really makes you feel better and you really want to. I don't think there's any rules against it. I always say just keep it really minimal. They want to see you as a dancer. They don't ask for tutus and costumes, otherwise they would specifically say that. This is just my opinion and what I think could be beneficial. Do you have to be in person, or can you do a video audition for European companies when not in Europe? Usually you send the video, you get accepted, and you have to go in person. I think there could be exceptions for some people who really can't make it. You just need to contact them, explain your situation. But if you can, I think it is better to be there in person. If you want European companies and you're auditioning here, you probably need to be around this area or do some sort of tour. When should you send audition videos and applications? Definitely send them as soon as possible once the audition applications have opened. Some places there's nowhere to send it to until they opened applications or they put some sort of website up for you to send things to. But once it's open and once you're happy with your materials, send it straight in. There's no point holding it off, and then you alleviate the stress of maybe forgetting to send something in on time, because if it closes and there's no way to send your audition application in, then there's really nothing you can do. Maybe you can email them and try do something, but usually they don't really care, and if you missed it, you missed it and you need to try again next year. Send it in as soon as possible and don't be the person that misses it or is late and you're crying and regretting it because you missed out on an audition that you really wanted to go to. Audition video tips. Tell your experience. How was filming for you? Filming audition videos can be really rough to look back and see yourself when you're like, wow, do I look that bad? Just because we are our harshest critics ourselves. That's my tip, is to not be hard on yourself, or be harsh on yourself to the sense that you work hard and you try your best. But if you try your best, you give it your everything, you're doing everything you can, you're doing the exercises, you're showing what you're capable of, and it's not enough for you, that's the point where you just have to accept your body. And it's not the video, it's not the exercises, it's just you being too harsh on yourself and putting yourself to unrealistic standards and expectations. So you need to come to a point of acceptance with yourself and how you're dancing and how you perform, and accept that and make sure what you're trying to achieve is achievable for you and for you as a dancer. For me, I just watched the videos and I was like, I just don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. And they were things I literally could not change about myself. They were things that were just me, that were just my body. And I was like, I wish I could change that or that. We're not looking at that to change our bodies or to change our height or proportions or anything. We can't do that. We only can work with what we have. So work with what you have, use it to the full advantage, and accept it where it is and send that in. I hope that makes sense. That was the kind of experience for me. Audition video format. Left, right side at the bar, what combos to do. This is again kind of personal. I would say whatever sides work for you. You can do one side one exercise, other side next exercise. I would say definitely change it up. Don't just do one side. Some people do that, but I would say kind of show a variety, otherwise it looks like you're hiding something and maybe you have really bad turnout on one leg. Try and show both sides, and maybe you can show the strengths on one side. Maybe you're really good at grand battement on the right side, do tendus on the left side, something like that. But there's no specific format to follow. As for exercises, you can do really anything you want. Make sure you have pliés, tendus, and jetés. Maybe you can mix them together. You can have a rond de jambe, you can have an adage, you can have a fondu. It doesn't need to be all of them. It just has to be kind of concise. Maybe put them all together. And also grand battements, tendus, grand battements, and some sort of adage flowy movement. But you can do whatever exercises you want to show that and to show the different qualities. As for the center, you need adage, pirouettes, petit allegro, and grand allegro. Anything you decide to do with that or apart from that is totally your choice. You can do pirouettes moving across the floor, kind of like a balancé or a diagonal, or you can do tendu and pirouettes. As I said, some companies do ask for separate extra things, so then you can follow what they say and their guidelines, but this is just a very base kind of what you need to do. I do remember seeing something online from Palooka School, and they had a website, so I will put that in the description. And I remember they kind of had a list, and it just made it a bit more clear for me. It does take a lot of work, and it takes being creative and coming up with exercises. As I said, just don't put unrealistic expectations on yourself and make it super hard or super intricate. How much training, stretching, etc. did you do for the audition right before? This is totally up to you. Whatever you're used to doing before your classes, you're still taking a ballet class. It's still the same principles. You're going to do bar, you're going to do center, jumps, maybe point. You just need to be prepared as you usually would be going into a class. Maybe it will be shorter than your usual classes, maybe it will be longer. It's usually around an hour and a half, I would say. That's how long most company classes are. Sometimes it can be longer, but just do whatever you need to do, whether that's rolling out, stretching, cardio, cardio. Sometimes the space that you're given is small just because there's a lot of dancers, so you can only do a little bit of stretching, but just do everything you can to make sure your body is prepared and warm and you feel ready to go and do your best ballet class, because you're not warming up. The bar is not the warm-up. The bar is immediately from the beginning. They are watching you. This is part of the audition. You need to be ready from the moment you set foot in the studio. Is it important to wear pointe shoes in the center? Everyone has different opinions on this. I'm gonna say yes. Oh, I don't know. Some people will probably disagree. It's kind of up to you, unless they specifically say, girls, put your pointe shoes on now, which I will say is most of the time. Be prepared for that. Don't go in there thinking maybe they're not gonna ask me to put pointe shoes on. If you don't feel confident putting pointe shoes on, maybe you're not ready for company audition. Just feel really confident in yourself on point. Do as much preparation leading up to the audition on point as you can. If you can do center on point as well, do that. Do everything you can to feel confident. Push the comfort zone before so that you feel confident going into the audition. And if they give you a choice, it's your choice. It's up to you. However, I would say put the pointe shoes on, because as a girl, they want to see your point work, and you are going to be doing point work as a ballerina in a dance company. That's what they want to see. They want to know you're capable of that. The bar will finish and straight away girls are putting pointe shoes on. They're sitting down. They're getting ready for center on point. Be prepared for that. Don't freak out. However, in saying that, some companies, they do say don't put your pointe shoes on yet. We want to see center on flat. Just kind of listen to what they're saying. If they haven't specified anything, I'm going to say put the pointe shoes on if you can. What happens at a live audition? What is a typical audition like? Usually you get there in the morning, maybe before 9 o'clock, depending on when your audition time is. But you get there, you will register, and that can kind of take a lot of time, and you think you're just going to get in straight away and you can start warming up and getting ready, but no, it can take a bit of time. So for me, that kind of stressed me out, because I'm used to just getting to the studio, taking my time to warm up, taking as long as I need, but a large chunk of that preparation and warm-up time is taken with registering and just getting into the building and being able to be allowed to warm up. So you will register, and then finally you will get in. Usually there's also a lot of preparation time with putting your numbers on. You might need to ask someone for help to pin numbers on, because that's a big part of auditions, is having a number. That takes up another chunk of time. Then you can finally warm up. Make sure you're as quick as possible with the other things. Get there early if it means you can get in there sooner. If you're like me and you need extra time to warm up so you can feel really prepared and calm when you go into the audition. Then they will call you into the audition. You'll do bar, center, then as I said, you'll probably do jumps, or they'll specifically ask for some point work or fouettes or anything like that. Most of the times it's just a class, and sometimes if there's a second round or they want to see more, they will ask you for a variation. It's very dependent on different companies and how they're holding the auditions, also how many people applied to the audition, and then maybe they have interviews after that. It's kind of crazy and very different for each company. My experience with Sweden, there was ballet class, contemporary, repertoire, and part of it, like, it was such a long day, and so many of the other auditions were just class, so it really depends. But after the class, if there's no repertoire or anything extra or more classes, then they will generally say thank you so much, we will send you an email, or thank you so much, we're gonna make you wait however long so the judges can talk, and then we will ask some people to stay and do interviews. I think that kind of explains it. It's a little bit of a rough idea. How to deal with nerves, fear of judgment, and rejection. This is definitely something that so many people go through and so many people are experiencing during auditions, during audition season, throughout the whole months that this is going on. It can be scary, and that brings up a lot of anxiety and stress for a lot of people. I know it definitely did for me, and I love knowing what's happening. I love being organized, and so when something's so unsure, it really can make you stressed and anxious, as I said. So one thing to know is that so many people, pretty much everyone I would say, is going through the same thing as you. So you're not alone. Definitely go and talk to people about it. I know that this year was really hard for a lot of us, or the past year when we started auditioning, it was really rough, and sometimes, you know, friendships can get a little bit rocky because of it, especially if they're your dance friends. You're in the same environment, if they're in the same year as you and they're auditioning as well, you want the same things, and there's such limited jobs out there that you can get a little bit, I don't want to say you don't fight with each other, but just kind of, it creates this tension between your friends. I think something that's nice is to kind of share your experiences and try and be open with your friends about it, and hopefully they reciprocate that. So try and talk to people about it. If you don't feel comfortable sharing with your friends and talking with them about that, then talk to your parents, talk to anyone you can. It's really good to not keep it inside, to have it out and just talk to someone about it. Nerves, just know you have been training however long, whether it's your whole life or whenever you started taking ballet seriously, for this moment, and not to like put it in this, oh, this is the moment. Of course it is an important moment, but it's not absolutely going to define everything. You're still just doing a in class, which is what you do practically every single day, just know that you're going into just another ballet class, just another variation, just another performance, just like anything else. And of course, performances in themselves can be nerve-wracking, but just try and keep it as normal as possible. Go into it with the same mentality you would a normal ballet class. And of course, that comes with time and experience of different auditions, but try not to build it up in your mind and make it this big thing, because yes, it's an important moment. You want to show your best self, but you're only human. Just give it your best shot. If you fall over, pick yourself back up. It's okay. They're really not wanting to see you be perfect. They're just wanting to see you be you and show what you have to give. As for fear of rejection, don't be scared of it, because it's gonna happen. I'm gonna tell it to you right now. You will probably get rejected. No, that's a lie. You will get rejected. I hate to be so straightforward, but it's so true. I have been rejected so many times. I don't want to sit here on the internet and say, no, I got into all the companies that I auditioned to. No, it was so easy for me. It was not. I am gonna say it for you guys. No matter how talented you are and how amazing you are, every company is looking for something different. So if you go to one audition, they will probably reject you. You go to another company, you might find that you get a job. So it's really, every company is looking for something different as well. It's not based on one thing or another. It's really just what they want, what they're looking for specifically at the time. Who knows, it could be related to your hair color for all you know. Like, you really can't let it get to you, because you really don't know what they're looking for. Don't let yourself get into that mentality that if you get a rejection, then you're not good enough. It's not that. Or maybe they wanted someone that was this tall or this short or looked a certain way. You cannot bring it down to one little point and let yourself get so stressed over it and give up over it. It is not worth that. And I know how it can feel. I know that it feels like it's the end of the world, and that if you can't get into this, then you're not made to be a ballet dancer. No, it's just not for you. One door closes, another door opens. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens at the right time in your time for your pathway and your life. Wow, Miss Kayla being inspirational over here. I hope so. I really hope that that helps you guys, because I know how you're feeling. Maybe I can do a whole different video or a TikTok or something about confidence and trying to help inspire you guys and to feel less nervous, but I really feel like that kind of sums it up a little bit, because don't let yourself get like that. It's really hard, but pick yourself up. It's just one rejection. You brush it off, you go to the next audition. There's so many more to go, I'm sure. How to stay confident. This kind of is like the same thing I was talking about, but it really does come with time, of course. And it's like, well, what if it's my first audition? I think you need to go in there with the boss bitch energy and just fake it until you make it. This is your first audition. You're absolutely pooping your pants with how nervous you are. That's okay. There's probably at least 10 other people that are in the same position as you. Maybe it's their 10th audition and they still feel the same way. You just don't know what other people are going through. You can only feel what you're feeling. Let the feelings come to you. Acknowledge them and acknowledge how you feel. Don't try and push them away, because it's normal. Even the principals and people going on stage for performances still get nerves and still get adrenaline. It's totally normal. Acknowledge it and let it be there, and just maybe not even overcome it, but use this energy that you have, these nerves. Don't put them down and say, I need to not be nervous, I can't be nervous. Maybe the shaking that you have, use it as energy to make you jump more, to make you turn more, or to make you just feel better and dance bigger. That is something that for me really helps me, because I also get nervous too. I'm only human. It's such a natural reaction to have. Use it to your advantage. That's what I've been telling myself a lot recently. Any situation that you're in, any circumstance that you're given, use it to your advantage. You're shaking and you're nervous, use that instead of nerves and fear. Use it as energy and a good adrenaline that makes you perform better and perform bigger. And again, just fake it till you make it. They don't know how many auditions you've been to. They don't know how experienced you are. If you just show up, put a smile on your face, put yourself out there and dance big and boldly, what are they gonna know? Then they're just seeing that, and they're seeing this version of yourself. You know that you put your best self out there. I feel like I could speak on this as well for a really long time, but I think that's kind of a good basis for how you can stay confident. And as I said, the more auditions you go to, the more confident you become. I kind of had a little reflection to myself, and I thought to myself, wow, how do I feel so at ease going to auditions now, when it used to be such a big thing, such a anxiety-inducing experience? Now I feel like, oh, it's just another audition, let's just see how it goes, give it my best. That's all you can think. Which auditions did you go to? Where were you accepted? Please share your experiences. I did 2 years of auditioning. The first year I really feel like I was too young, and it was kind of hard for me to get accepted anywhere because I was 17. I don't know if it was just that. Maybe I just wasn't ready enough, I wasn't strong enough, but it wasn't as successful and it was a bit harder for me. My second year clearly was more successful, but I also found I went to a lot more auditions that I really wanted to go to, or there was just a lot more openings. And that's the thing. Maybe there's not even openings for companies that you want, but the next year there is. It really depends. Which auditions did did I go to? I've been to so many, guys, but I know people who have been to even more than me, which is crazy, but it's part of the experience and it's different for everyone. This year specifically, I went to Dutch National, I went to Hungarian National, I did the YGP job fair, I went to the Czech National Ballet, I went to Dresden, Finland, and Sweden. Some of these were through YGP job fair. The Czech National Ballet was through YGP job fair. It wasn't an audition, it was more just to come take class, see how you feel, more for me to experience the company. Same thing with Finland, the Finnish National Ballet. They said they liked me, they'd already seen me, but they wanted to, I don't know, it's kind of more for you and just to see, also for them to see kind of how you are in the company. So it's a really good opportunity to see the studios and also to make connections, of course, which is very important in the dance world. Sometimes it does feel like you're wasting your money and time when they've already seen you, but still, those are the auditions I went to. Some of these auditions I went directly one to the other. The Czech National Ballet, I went directly to the Dresden audition, and that's just so intense. You have to have everything that you need in your suitcase so that you can go from one place to the other, and it can be very stressful. I was very grateful for that one specifically. My mum came with me, so that was really nice. And that's another tip, Kayla audition tip. If you can go with your friends, or if there's people that you know that are going to these auditions and you can travel with them, do that. It's gonna make it so much easier. It just puts a little bit of weight off your shoulders because you know there's someone with you and you can kind of navigate the travel aspect of things together. You're already stressing about the audition, you don't want to be worrying about getting there. Same thing with my Sweden audition. So Friday I arrived in Sweden in the evening, got to my hotel, had dinner and went to bed. In the morning I had my audition. It was one of the longest auditions I've done and had the most different rounds through the day, and everyone did every round. Then in the evening, it was like 3 o'clock I think we finished. I know I had to get straight to the airport and get home because the next morning at 6 a.m. I had to leave to go to New York, which was crazy. And New York was not for a audition, it was for something else, but I just remember being so stressed and having breakdowns and crying over how stressed I was about just getting everywhere and navigating the whole traveling part of that, and then having to do auditions at the same time. It just seemed crazy to me. I'm only an 18-year-old girl, just like, why am I doing this all alone? But after that, I have to say it's very empowering because I know I can do that, and I've traveled alone so much now. It makes you feel a little bit like a boss biatch. I did that. I traveled there, and then I went to there, and then I went to there, and I navigated it all myself. So it's very empowering, and I love that. Those are the auditions I went to. Where were you accepted? I'm not gonna say, just for my sake and just because I don't think anyone should compare where they're accepted. Sometimes you get one contract offer, sometimes you get 10. Who knows? It's really different for everyone. I will say I got more than one contract offer this year, which is super amazing after my last year where I did struggle a little bit more. But this year I was definitely more successful, which was really nice, especially after such a long process. It's nice to have some result. Yes, I won't say exactly where I got accepted, but I did have a couple of options, which was super nice. That's not something that happens for everyone. I feel super blessed that I did have that possibility to choose where I wanted to go. Please share your experiences. I think I answered that. It was kind of crazy, so much traveling, a lot of money from the bank account or the parents' bank account. Thank you to my parents for funding all of this. The whole experience can be very intense. It can be very go, 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 and you just have no moments to yourself. I just remember thinking I really need to find any little moment, 1 minute here or there, to just check in with myself, reflect, make sure I'm okay, because the thing with auditions is that you're doing so much for everything else, for these directors. You want to impress them. You want to be like, look at me, I'm over here, take me, choose me, pick me. And it's just like so much on your mental and physical health that by the end of it, oh gosh, yeah. Guys, I get you. I have totally been through it. As I said, 2 years of auditions. I know how you feel if you're experiencing it. Take the moments you need. If you need to say no to social plans and activities, that's okay, because you need to recharge and make sure you're your best self for these auditions. I feel like it's like putting your life on hold for those 8, 9, however many months and just focusing on auditions, which is crazy, but it's the life of a ballerina. I'm sorry to tell you. I guess no one ever tells you this, but it is part of the experience. It's the way it is these days, and who knows, maybe it will change in the future. This is just kind of how the audition and the ballet world is right now. Just on that, I did write down, it's easy to stress out, especially me being someone who needs structure, and to be extremely organized to feel calm. You're probably not going to have everything be super structured, black and white, this and that, this is when I get here, this is how this happens. Of course, have like travel itineraries and schedules as much as you can, but sometimes things don't go exactly to plan, and sometimes things change, and you just need to be prepared to be a little spontaneous, or to be a little bit out of your comfort zone, and to be willing to just be flexible. Be flexible. That is a good thing. Just be willing, be open. That's some good advice. Listen to that. I wish my past self could watch this video right now after having experienced and gone through what I did. I just do hope this helps you though, and you can take something out of this video. What is my favorite audition I went to? The Swedish audition was my favorite. I'm not being biased. It's not because I currently work at this company. Stockholm and Sweden is beautiful. It's just the people and the airport I loved so much. The public transport, everything is amazing. But this company, they had pamphlets, they had schedules, they had information, everything was so organized. And as I said, me being someone who needs structure and organization, absolutely loved that and was super grateful for that. Not all auditions are like that, and that's why I'm saying you have to be open and prepared for anything, because you never know what you're going to get, and every audition is super different. Did JCS help you with auditions? I don't want to straight out say no, but there was not a lot of support in terms of auditions given. We were basically expected to do it ourselves. We had to film it ourselves. We had to come up with the exercises and everything ourselves. Yeah, it was kind of hard for that. I know some schools are different, and of course we could go to our teachers and ask them things, but we didn't receive that much help. I guess just the training in school should help us in the auditions and help us have good technique for our audition videos. I will say though, with one of my teachers, we did do a little bit more center on point, and you can ask your teachers to do those things so you feel more prepared. We did do a little bit of that my first year with my old teacher, but then my second year with a different teacher, we didn't really focus on it. We were focusing on exam work, which was so hard because we wanted to focus on auditions because we felt like that was really important, but our teacher wanted to focus on exam work for after auditions. It's a balance and it's hard. You got to find the time to make sure you're prepared as well. Did you go on an audition tour or go separately to auditions? All the auditions I was going to were at very different times. I don't really know how people, for example, from Australia do it. I guess they just try and get a bunch at the same time, or they have to stay in Europe a long time because they're at such different times and all at different months. So I would just go whenever there was one. That's why I loved being in Europe, and also since I was targeting European companies to go to. Why did I choose my variation? I would have loved to have done a different variation, but this is just the variation I was focusing on for my exam at school. I was working on it already with my teacher, and since I was working on it, I wasn't about to pull out some completely different variation for auditions. I felt most confident with this. I did that for my video, and then I did the same variation for any auditions that they wanted me to perform live at the audition. Did I navigate the audition process by myself or with a teacher? I did it mostly myself, but I am very grateful to have my teacher back in Australia. She's super helpful. She is open to questions all the time, and for me to call her or ask her anything. I'm super grateful that I had her as kind of a support system and to ask any questions, so that's great. If you have teachers, you can ask. How did you get your contract from the Royal Swedish Ballet? I went to an audition. I sent my application with my video audition materials. I sent that through. I actually got back the email that said I wasn't invited to the audition, so I was kind of sad, but I just accepted it at that point, and I'd already been to so many auditions, and I think maybe I had a contract elsewhere at the time, so I was like, well, you know what, it is what it is. But I was pretty sad because I really wanted to go here. Then I received another email saying I was invited to the audition, so I was so confused because I was like, didn't you just say I can't come to the audition? I think it was a mistake that they sent me that email. I was invited in the end, and I went to the audition. I flew to Stockholm just like anyone else would. I did the whole audition process. We did ballet class, pas de deux, repertoire, we did Swan Lake. I've never done a audition where you get put into places as if it's called a ballet, and it was super random. That's another reason why I loved this audition, because it felt like we were in the company and experiencing what it would be like to be in this company and working with the ballet masters. Each part of the audition was with a different ballet master as well, which I really loved. Then we did contemporary, and it was finally over. I did the audition. I got a email a week later, and I was over the moon. I'm so sorry, but my camera keeps giving up on me and it's running out of charge and just not working, so I'm gonna finish it off on my phone. I feel like this video is pretty in-depth and hopefully answers all of your questions. With that being said, I am done with this video. This has literally taken 2.5 hours to film. I don't know how long it's gonna take to edit, but I would really like to have it out for you guys so that it's ready for this audition season. I really hope, as I said, that I can help you guys, and I'm losing my voice just talking for so long. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, comment down below, and like this video if you have made it to the end. Best of luck for your audition season. Please believe in yourself. Be confident as much as you can. Take time for yourself. It's a journey. It's a process. It's not gonna happen like this. Be prepared for rejection. Be prepared for getting out of your comfort zone. All the best with everything. A big toy from me. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.